Hey guys, welcome back to another flea market finds episode, and this is going to be stuff that was actually sold. This box was given to me and then another box was sold to me. So what ended up happening was, a guy showed up at my house that I know who cleans out houses, and he said, "Hey Steve, I got a box of stuff that was in a Machinist toolbox that I sold, and I got no use for it. You're welcome to have it if you want to come by and pick it up." So he lives not too far from me, so I said, yeah, you know what, I can take a ride up right now. So I go up there and I end up pulling into his driveway, and he's sitting out in the driveway and he's got two boxes there. He's got the box, this box here with the stuff that he's going to give me, and then he has another box loaded with good tools. And he's looking through and he's acting, I don't know what I'm going to do with these, and acting all coy, when in reality, I think the whole idea was, the reason why he didn't bring me this box of junk in the first place was he wanted me to come up there and see that other stuff. And I looked at the other stuff and I said, well, if you're going to sell that, I could use all of that stuff. So then we ended up cutting a deal, and it was interesting. He acted like he didn't care because he sold the box. He said he had a huge Gerstner box that he sold, and that he got good money for it, and this was the contents. Why the guy wouldn't want the contents, I don't know. Or maybe the guy did buy some of the contents and left some stuff. But when you see what's in this other box, you're going to be floored. You know, why the guy didn't take it, I don't know. Anyways, let's see what the free stuff is first. Granted, this is going to be mostly junk because it's going to be stuff that he either couldn't recognize what it was, or to him just looked like chunks of metal or junk tools. I'll just give you a peek. Let's see which one of you guys are eagle-eyed enough to spot something good in there before I pick through it and pick out the few goodies that are in there. All right, time's up. Just give me a moment to dig through here. So most of what's left in here is just going to be dowel pins, cut-offs of small round stock. There's like some extensions for drilling down deep in a hole and stuff. Nothing really too much to get excited about. And then there's a scriber point right there. So a lot of parts of things. There's a nice knurled adjusting nut for maybe a surface gauge or something. So I'll throw that in with my other parts. It's a micrometer wrench. Here's a square gauge block. Yeah, it's a Pratt & Whitney. 0.128, so 128 thousandths. I'll set that aside because I've got a box I put all of these in so that I can complete sets when I come across those missing some. Here's a nice precision ground parallel, homemade one by the looks of it. Already chamfered the edges and everything. Unfortunately, there's just one. These appear to me like they might be, well, at first I thought they were die holders for threading, but now I'm wondering, that's interesting. Look at all the threaded holes he put in for set screws to be moved to different positions. Don't really know what those were for. Apparently there was a height gauge somewhere. I wonder if he sold the height gauge to the guy who bought the box, because here is a nicely made offset scriber for a height gauge. Looks like he TIG welded a couple of pieces together. So he probably started with a straight carbide tipped one like this, and then cut it, TIG welded on this piece. Then he did a little bit of this fancy work here. I forgot what this is called. Engine turning, I think is what they call this. Is the nickname for this kind of decorative look, this burnishing deal. Another straight one, and a short straight one. Center gauge, aka fishtail. It's a Starrett, heavily engraved. 60 degree. A hunk of brass that somebody fashioned into a heart. When I first spotted this adjustable wrench in there, I thought it was going to be a cheap Chinese junk, but it's an Indestro. A little Indestro made in USA. Model 3585. A little dental inspection mirror. 2 rods for depth gauges. This one ground to a super fine point, and this one is a flat. Actually looks like a Starrett. This thing, got a little ball on the end of this long handle with the knurled end here. Almost looks like a pattern maker's tool. I don't know. These two things are interesting. Somebody put a lot of work into fashioning this thing. It's got a point on the end, a long curved tip. It's got a pivot point here, and the other end of this rod is here. Looks like this is made to hold a indicator in here. So this would be for reaching deep inside somewhere and getting a measurement. I'm probably going to take a little bit of playing around to figure out exactly how we would mount the indicator in here. Kind of a funky setup. And then he also made this one, this little short one. Again, it's got a little foot right here. And it's got a regular, almost like indicator tip on the other end. And the last of the free junk in that box, there was this little jar, which I noticed has, oh, let's see, that's just something Sharpe. That's nothing. There's a little key. Boy, I wonder if that's the key for the Gerstner. 4 replacement points for last words. But these are what caught my eye. This one was loose in the box, and then these two were in here. This is a little pin. Pratt & Whitney 1960. Oh, and there's the Pratt & Whitney 1959. Guess we know where this guy worked. I can't see it without a magnifier, but I think this is probably a union pin. Alright, so then once he got me to come up there to get that stuff, got me to buy this stuff. And when I was looking in the box, just right off the bat, some of the stuff I could see got me excited. Like this, for instance. That's the big daddy of the Starrett 91 series. This is the 91D Starrett tap wrench. It's in great shape. This one looks like it was spared being engraved, which is nice because a lot of this gentleman's tools were engraved by him. So that's the big one. And then wouldn't you know it, look at this. He also had the 91C, also not engraved, and the 91B. Alright, so those were a great score. And then he had this Starrett data book from Machinists. Starrett Books, Volume 11. I've never seen one of these. So it's kind of like a tables book, like stuff that you would find in the machinery handbook. But it's more condensed. There's interesting things in here though. There's stuff that basically is like literally for advertising the fact that it's Starrett tools that you can use to do these certain things. Emery wheel clearance tables. Standards for tapered sprockets. So yeah, there's data in here, but then there's also like advertising. And I know because somebody's going to ask what year this is. Oh, look at this price, 75 cents. It says right there, 75 cents for this book. Back in the day. Copyright 1929. First edition 1919. 11th edition 1939. So this must be an 11th edition, 1939. Yeah, volume 11. Nice set of 154 parallels. These look brand new. I mean, it doesn't look like he used these much at all. Also do not see any engraving on them. So that's a nice set right there. Really great shape. Here's a little box of just taps. Some of them look like they're brand new. This is nice. This is a small Starrett surface gauge, a number 56, and it's clean as a whistle, and it's got the case hardening finish on it that makes it look really cool. That is a nice piece right there, and it's in the box with the original scriber and clamp with the rod. And then there's this also. This is a more modern snug for a dovetail indicator. It doesn't really belong in there. And check it out. This is the original box. You don't see that too often. Here's another little box for screws, but it's filled with, well, I guess maybe that's what these are. Price tags on them, so I can't tell what the hell they are, but it looks like socket pressure plugs. So I don't know what these are for. Maybe these are unique to the aircraft industry. Again, he worked at Pratt Whitney, aircraft manufacturers. So it looks like a regular hex head there, but it's got a taper to it. It's got a slot in the end. So these are funky. There's some smaller ones in there, some larger ones. They have letters on the side, made by Holochrome. Here's a box for a 579C telescopic gauge, but it's actually filled with a bunch of other stuff here too. So we got some pieces of telescopic gauge here. I don't know what the heck's going on. Hold on. That's a micrometer wrench. So this is a good 579B. Oh, and this is a 259. So see the 259. So the 259, this side is fixed and only this side moves. The 579, both sides move. So this is the better one. So this is a B, and this box is for a C. So, all right. And then there's a bunch of parts in here of some of these that met their demise. So I don't hold out much hope in being able to resurrect these things. And that's another 229. Oh, what did I say that? Did I say 259? I think it's a 229. Yeah. Alright. Here's a whole box of, some of these are actually gauge pins. So this is Meyer gauge pins. Oh, these larger ones are actually gauge pins too. So these are all gauge pins. I don't know if they're all Meyers or not, but that's nice. Here's a cool little Brown and Sharpe box. A lot of this old equipment, measuring equipment from back in the day, had boxes that were almost like jewelry boxes. And this is no exception. This is a mini inside micrometer. Brown and Sharpe. I've had one of these before. I think these are pretty collectible. I've never had one in its original case like this. That's a nice find. Here are a couple of Mitutoyo indicators. So I don't know if these were made this way or not. I'll have to look these up. They're number 1410s. But the weird thing about them to me is that they have springs installed so that they actually need to be pulled and they spring back. The opposite of the way you would expect it to be. You expect there to be a compression spring, if anything, up in this end to force them to stay down, and you push against it. This, they're all the way in and you have to pull them out. And they've got these weird little collars that were added to them. So I don't know if these were modified by somebody for that reason or if they were born that way. Oh, so turns out all I got to do is take this screw off, take that spring out from where it is, put the spring inside the cap here so the spring is now on top of this screw and compressed in there, and this will go back to being a normal indicator. Or, you know, standard configuration. There's the 91A. There's the 91A Starrett tap wrench. Wow, that just gets better and better. So we got all four. I think there might have been a 91AA, which was even smaller. I think that might have been the smallest in the series, but I'm not positive. Well, I guess now we know what some of those micrometer wrenches might be for. This is not a bad looking central tool. Normally the central tool stuff doesn't seem as nice as far as the frames go. This is more like a Starrett or a Brown and Sharpe, but it's marked Central Tool of Rhode Island. And there's an early Starrett. Oh, lock still works. Huh. Let's see what's in this little pouch. Lodding, L-O-D-D-I-N-G. So this is some sort of, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Funky little thing. Almost looks like maybe it's made to go like this, you know, on a round piece of stock. But then you can just adjust this to whatever you want. Maybe somebody made this thing. I don't know. Sure is a nice looking case though. Oh, it says right here, Lodding Engineering Corporation. I stand corrected. This apparently is a thing. I'll have to try and look that up, see if I can figure out what that is. This is an interesting thing. This is a Pioneer paper drill. Keep sharp and clean, oil when not in use. The Pioneer Toledo Company of Toledo, Ohio. 3/16" paper drill. And what it is it's just a sharp metal tube that you would spin and lower into, I guess, a ream of paper, and it would allow you to take a core sample of the paper, I'm guessing. It's packed with paper right now, as a matter of fact. I guess that's something specific probably to the paper industry for testing. This little pouch screams Starrett. Oh, there we go. So there's the 279 set, the small one. This looks like some kind of coolant or oil or something got to it and kind of faded the red to orange. But this is another set. So this is this is the 500 series, 579 or whatever that guy said it was. 4-piece set. Oh, this is one of these little Starrett scale sets. It's these little miniature scales, these little tiny little scales, and then this is the handle that you can clamp it to. So like if you want to reach down into an area and take a measurement with a scale. Just couple of brass thumb screws for something in here. I don't know what those go to. Some Craftsman Torx bits. Random ones. Oh, here's a nice Starrett dividers. This is the Toolmakers series of dividers. That's a little bit more interesting inspection mirror. Got an oval shape to it. Here's a T20 Craftsman Torx driver. This is a precision twist drill silver and Deming drill bit. That's brand new, I'll tell you right now. And then there's this. Check this out. What looks to be like practically brand new protractor head, Starrett, along with the matching combination head and centering head. Now the centering head is missing the screw, but you could take this screw out of here and put it in here to use it. Now that I look at it though, this is actually marked Starrett hardened on it. This looks like a Starrett. This has got a different style screw on it. Maybe this isn't a Starrett. But this is what he had in the box. These three, along with a 12-inch union tool blade that looks brand new. Oddly enough, it was in this box. It was in this little sleeve that says New Tech 4124. That's odd. So maybe this is a union tool. But then he also had this sitting there. This sleeve contains what appears to be a brand new old stock satin chrome Starrett 24-inch blade. That's a nice find. If you've already got the Starrett 12-inch combi set, you can just take any of those heads and throw it on here. Here's another Craftsman Torx. This is the T15. 1 end mill. Yep, tap follower. Nice long one. These are handy. Oh, there's the T10. A nice Starrett 6-inch blade in the original plastic holder. 6-inch scale. Usually when I say blade, I mean it's got a groove in it for putting on, you know, centering head, protractor head, combi head, that kind of thing. And when I say scale, I'm usually talking about just a straight little metal ruler like that. Oh, interesting. Got a little domed head on it. Again, would this be a pattern maker's tool? Or am I completely off base and this is something else completely different, like some sort of special ejector pin for a mold or something? I don't know. Got a somewhat random assortment of Starrett punches. So we've got these square bodied punches, center punches. Looks like we might have makings of a set here for those. I don't know, that's the big one. Well, there's a clamp for, again, probably a height gauge that I didn't get. That's it for what's in the box, and the last item is this nice little precision grinding vise. Seen this style plenty of times. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this is not a project, that this is something that was actually made in a tool factory, just because they went through the trouble of actually blackening the inside areas like here and here. I mean, somebody could have actually taken the time and done that. But it definitely doesn't look like a high school project type of quality. The only thing it's missing is to say Hermann Schmidt right over here. That would be nice. Well, anyways, so in case I didn't mention it, I ended up getting this load right here for $100. I'm quite pleased. It's going to be a real moneymaker for me. That's going to wrap up this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this tool find. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. And as always, take care.